Would you give up everything you love to stand up for your principles? Barron Trump did just that, and the results were remarkable. It was a sunny Saturday in Arlington, Texas. The local football field was buzzing with energy as players warmed up. Parents chatted in the stands, and coaches shouted instructions. Among them was Barron Trump, who, at 17, was already known for his quiet, reserved demeanor. Barron preferred to let his actions on the field speak for themselves. That morning, though, his presence drew attention for a different reason. He was wearing a bright red t-shirt that contrasted with his hair. For Barron, the t-shirt was simply a way to express his opinions, something he did naturally at home. But when he stepped onto the field, the atmosphere changed. Teammates exchanged glances, parents murmured, and Coach Dan Callahan, known for his passion and his rule of keeping politics out of the game, reacted immediately. Callahan walked toward Barron with determination. "Barron, come here," he called, his voice sharp. The team stopped, sensing the tension. Barron approached, and the coach, hands on his hips, asked, "What's that on your shirt?" His tone was stern. "It's just a shirt, coach," Barron replied calmly. Callahan was not convinced. "This field is no place for political statements. You know the rules. No politics, no exceptions." Barron remained calm. "I'm not trying to make a political statement, coach. It's just who I am." Callahan's patience snapped. "Take it off, or you're off the team," he shouted. A hush fell over the field. Barron looked around, feeling the weight of the eyes on him. He hesitated, his fingers fiddling with the hem of his t-shirt. Then, to everyone's surprise, he said, "If that's the case, coach, I'm out." Without another word, Barron turned and walked toward the parking lot, leaving his teammates and the field behind. The chants from the sidelines grew louder, and the coach, visibly shaken, tried to regain control of the practice. But the story didn't end there. Barron wasn't the type to give up easily. As he walked off the field, his heart was pounding, a mix of anger, humiliation, and other conflicting emotions. He got into his car, gripping the steering wheel, repeating the coach's words. The parking lot was eerily quiet compared to the noisy field behind him. At home, conversation soon began. Melania, ever protective, was worried. "What happened out there?" she asked gently, noticing Barron's unusual silence when he entered. He explained everything: the confrontation with Coach Callahan, the ultimatum, and his decision to leave. Melania sighed deeply as Donald listened intently, his expression growing more serious with each word. "This is unacceptable," Donald said firmly. "No one can silence you like that." Barron held up his hand to stop him. "I don't want to turn this into a circus. I just wanted to play football." Words spread quickly. Within hours, the team's parents were discussing the issue in WhatsApp groups, and the local school community was divided. Some thought Barron was being stubborn, while others admired his courage. On social media, a photo of Barron walking off the field in a red jersey went viral. The debate was intense. Some supported Coach Callahan for upholding the no politics rule, while others criticized his actions. The comments section became a battleground. "This kid needs to learn that the world doesn't revolve around him," one user wrote. "Good for him for standing his ground," another commented. "Free speech matters." Barron, however, wasn't reading the comments. He was focused on something bigger. The next few days were difficult for Barron. Football wasn't just a game. It was his escape, a place where he could clear his head and lose himself in the rhythm of the game. Now, without football, he felt a strange emptiness every afternoon during practice. At school, the atmosphere changed, too. Some students avoided him, unsure of where to stand. Others quietly expressed their support. Some, uncomfortable with his anonymity, ridiculed him on social media. One night, Barron sat in his room, staring at the red t-shirt on the table. The piece of fabric seemed to have taken on a life of its own, carrying a weight he hadn't expected. He thought about his father's words, that no one had the right to silence him. But he also wondered about the coach's rules and whether he was wrong to wear the t-shirt. Melania knocked softly on the door. "Barron," she said, her voice gentle, "you don't have to carry this alone. People will always have opinions, but you have to decide what's right for you." Her words echoed in the air long after she left the room. Barron thought about everything: his teammates, the sport he loved, and the message he wanted to convey. Slowly, an idea began to form. He spent hours researching online, immersing himself in stories of other athletes who had faced rejection for speaking out. He read about Jackie Robinson, Colin Kaepernick, and even high school players who had stood up against injustices in their communities. Their courage inspired him, but Barron wanted to do something different, something that would not only generate news but also promote understanding and unity. One day after school, Barron approached his old friend Taylor, who had always supported him. "I need your help," Barron said, showing a notebook full of plans and ideas. "I'm going to organize a charity game." Taylor's face lit up. "A charity game? Against who?" "Anyone who wants to play," Barron replied with a smile. "The question is not who wins, but to show that sport can unite people, not divide them." Taylor nodded slowly. "And you think Coach will support this?" "I'm not going to ask him," Barron said firmly. "This isn't about him. It's bigger than that." The following week, the community buzzed. Barron and Taylor visited local businesses to seek sponsorship, created flyers, and posted ads on social media. The idea quickly gained traction. Classmates who had remained silent during the incident began speaking out, offering support. Even some parents who had initially supported the coach changed their minds when they saw Barron's determination. The event gained momentum, with local media picking up the story. "Soccer team organizes unity game," read one headline. Barron felt a mix of pride and anxiety as game day approached. What if no one shows up? What if I fail? But the momentum was undeniable, and game day became a turning point that no one could have predicted. The day of the football game arrived with a nervous energy in the air. The field, previously the stage for confrontation, now vibrated with emotion. A small crowd gathered early, including students, parents, and even families unfamiliar to the community. Local businesses donated food and drinks, and a banner draped behind the stands read "Unity Through Sports." Barron arrived an hour early, carrying boxes of jerseys he'd bought from a local league. He'd barely gotten out of the car when he saw Taylor running toward him. "You're not going to believe this," Taylor said breathlessly. "Coach is here." Barron was startled. Sure enough, Coach Callahan was standing at the sidelines, arms crossed, watching the preparations. For a moment, Barron felt his resolve waver. Is this another showdown? He took a deep breath and decided to focus on what really mattered, making the game a success. As the players warmed up, Barron couldn't help but notice the diversity of the group. Teammates who had remained silent during the incident were now laughing and joking with players from other schools and even local leagues. A group of younger kids kicked a ball around the sidelines, their parents watching with smiles. When the game started, the atmosphere was electric. The players gave their best, but the mood was light. Every goal was cheered by the crowd, and even small mistakes were greeted with laughter. Barron played as if he had something to prove, not to the coach, not to the crowd, but to himself. For the first time in weeks, he felt the joy of football again. At halftime, Barron addressed the crowd. Standing in the middle of the field with a microphone in his hand, he spoke from the heart. Sports should bring people together, not divide them. We all have different beliefs, but here, we're just players. That's what matters. The applause was unanimous. Even Coach Callahan, who had been watching in silence, gave a little roar of approval. But the real surprise came after the game. As the crowd began to disperse, Coach Callahan approached Barron. "I've been coaching for 20 years, he began, his voice thick but not hostile. "I've seen a lot of players come and go. But what you did today is something I've never seen before." Barron didn't know how to respond. He just nodded. His old anger at the coach had melted into something closer to understanding. "You've got guts, kid," Callahan added. "Keep it up." And for the first time, it felt like a bridge had been built, not broken. The impact of Barron's actions began to ripple through the community. In the weeks following the charity game, local media highlighted the event as a symbol of unity in a time of division. "Young athlete inspires community movement through football," read the Arlington Gazette headline. People who were not in attendance at the game began sharing photos and videos online, spreading Barron's message far beyond his hometown. The school community, once divided by the incident, began to come together. Students who had ridiculed Barron on social media reached out to apologize. Some even admitted that they admired his courage. Teachers brought the charity game into classroom discussions, using it as an example of leadership and the power of standing up for one's beliefs. But the most surprising change came from Coach Callahan. One afternoon, as Barron was leaving school, the coach approached him. "I've thought a lot about what happened," Callahan said, his voice breaking. "I thought I was protecting the team by enforcing this rule, but perhaps I lost sight of what really matters." Barron didn't know what to say first. "It wasn't easy for me either," he finally replied. "I just wanted to show that we can have different beliefs and still respect each other." The trainer nodded thoughtfully. "Well, I want to do right. If you want, I'd like to have you back on the team." Barron hesitated, not because he didn't want to go back, but because he had changed in ways he hadn't expected. Football still mattered to him, but now he saw the sport as a platform for something bigger. "I'll think about it, coach," he said with a small smile. But either way, I appreciate it. The community did not forget the lesson Barron taught them. Inspired by the success of the charity game, the school organized similar events, each bringing together those closest to them. Barron found himself becoming a reluctant leader, not just on the field but off it, as someone others looked to for guidance and inspiration. And in the end, that was what Barron valued most. Not the headlines, not the applause, but the knowledge that he had made a difference. He turned a moment of conflict into a movement of understanding, proving that even when the odds seem stacked against you, standing up for what you believe in can inspire change. And that is a message we can all take away. Never underestimate the power of your voice, no matter how small it may seem. If you enjoyed this story, remember to subscribe and follow us for more powerful narratives like this.